All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises due to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kokodash. All right, double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the elect. This is Brother Parathon back at it with another lesson. And today I'm just going to go into a quick lesson on, you know, not being super emotional and basically ruling your spirit when you're in this truth, when you're dealing with people in the world, when you're dealing with brothers, elder brothers, or what have you, man. All right, a lot of times it's best to just rule your spirit. You don't have to say everything that's on your mind. All right, that's a difference, and that's a major difference that should be with us in this truth and comparing these dudes that's in this world, man. All right, especially if he's a young man. All right, this world is a world of the YN. These YNs are the most dangerous motherfuckers. All right, they're young men. They fucking tall, strong, and emotional. All right, and they have no filter for us in this truth. Hey, you can't be saying everything that's on your mind, everything that's you're feeling. All right, especially if you run around in the world and you know the truth. Hey, first and foremost, this truth ain't for everybody. All right, okay. Right, the scriptures speak about to you it was given, to them it was not given. All right, basically roughly paraphrasing. Okay, so you don't want to be going around, all right, cursing people out. Oh, those are Edomites, and you don't want to do things like that, man. All right, because that's just gonna make your walk, all right, so much harder. Okay, and another thing is, even you might be getting chastised or what have you. All right, hey, hold your peace. Hold your peace. A lot of times, you know what I'm saying, it's just better to, hold your peace, rule your spirit. All right, we're not saying being pushovers or anything like that. All right, but hey, we in the time where we have to take L's, man. We in the captivity. All right, so things ain't perfect. All right. So I'm just going to go into a couple of scriptures when it comes to that, okay? So this is Proverbs chapter 25, verse 28. And it says, he that had no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. Yeah, that's right, man. So if you can't rule your spirit, guess what? That's it's like a city that is broken down without walls, no protection. All right? You know? Okay? Right? I'm gonna read that again. He that had no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. Yeah, and, your parents used to say, hey, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, just don't say none or something to that effect. Yeah, you wanna keep that mantra, man. All right, you don't have to say everything on your mind. You don't have to volunteer any type of all this information. All right, and even if you are, wrongfully accused or what have you, man. All right, guess what? You got to hold that. Okay. So it says, what's up with the music on all of a sudden, bro? It says, he that had no rule over his spirit, his over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and with all walls. And that's the thing, man. Ruling your spirit is like a form of protection. All right. It's like it's a form of protection. It gets you into less shit. You know what I'm saying? All right, you out here being super emotional. You might have an encounter with the cops or what have you. All right. Hey, just the other day, Saturday after camp, the brother was dropping me off. All right, and the cops pull up upon. He was dropping me off right in front of my crib, and the cop just came up from the back. Yo, you see, you double park, and we was right here, and the dude was just a fucking asshole the whole time. But guess what, man? We have to hold that down. All right. The scriptures speak about agree with thy adversary quickly. Right. Hey, soft words turn away wrath. All right, so you want to rule your spirit, man. You don't have to fight every single battle, and that's the thing about ruling your spirit. You don't have to fight every single battle. All right, when I was growing up, my parents used to tell me that, yo, you don't have to always be dead right. Like some things, hey, even though you are right, it would behoove you just to just let it be. All right, as I said, we're not pushovers. All right, we're not punks. We're not bitches. I don't, you know what I'm saying? But in this world, you have to maneuver. All right, and you react into every little thing. That's the way. That's the way. A woman operates, man. right? Very emotional. A lot of people like to say, I encounter some women in the world. Oh, I speak everything that's on my mind. Like, that's not a flex. That ain't a flex. That's actually very foolish. That shit is very dangerous, right? And people can get the drop on you, right? In all reality, all right. So in this truth, so how much more in this truth, man? In this truth, you want to rule your spirit, all right? You don't want to get taken off your square, all right, all the time like that, man. Hell no. Okay, right? These are just little tips for your everyday life, because guess what? This world of shit is frustrating, man. I was just sitting at a certain part of the park. A little girl walked up to me. Yo, can I sit right here? I said, what? I said, how you gonna get there? She said, can you just move? I'm like, yo, bitch, I don't fucking know you, man. I mean, my fault. I was a little girl, but like, yo, stop playing with me, you know. But guess what? You gotta, this world is just crazy. So hey, you must rule your spirit, all right? I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, all right? This is Proverbs chapter 16, verse 32. It says, he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. Yeah, that's right, man. You always want to be, confrontational. All right. That's literally the last thing you want to be. You know what I'm saying? That's the last thing you want to be. You don't want to get into no conflicts out here. All right, the scriptures speak about what? When the Lord ways pleaseth a man, even his enemies be at peace with him. All right. So that's what it is. That's the kind of stead we have to roll in. All right. Slow to anger. Okay. Right. You don't want to just always be. That's your go-to emotion. All right. Or you could be angry. But guess what, man? You gotta hold it down, man. You gotta have that poker face. All right, brothers gotta have that poker face when we moving in this world, man. All right. You want to have that dead face, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, somebody tell you some crazy shit and you know what I mean? You don't even flinch, right? Me, I'm working on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get better. It says, he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. Is better than the mighty. All right. It says, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city. That's what it is, man. I'm gonna read that again. This is Proverbs 16, verse 32. It says, he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, right? And he that ruleth spirit and he that taketh a city. So guess what? A ruling your spirit is even way more powerful than a mighty, and way more powerful than him that take hold of a city, right? All right, that's what I was saying. Hey, ruling your spirit is really a big form of protection to just keep you out of shit. You know what I mean? Right? You just gotta all right, when you go home or something, you can bitch about it to yourself, or what have you, right? But you have to rule your spirit. You know what I'm saying? Hey, these people out here, guess what? They ready to crash out. They ready to crash out. All right. We know what time, especially now. We know what times we know the times we in, man. People are fucked up out here, man. All right. People are on edge. All right. So you going back and forth with some random in the street, man. Hey, bro. Listen, man. That don't make no sense. All right. You gotta avoid situations like that. You know. Hey, me personally, I used to drive all the time. I had to, I'm in New York City, so we don't have to drive. And that's a decision I had to make. I'm like, yo, bro, me driving all the time. This shit is just like, yo, this shit is a stressful shit where I'm constantly, road rage and shit. I'm not gonna say I had a road rage, but in terms of getting out of the car and these type of things, but I kind of peeped that. I'm like, yo, bro, this ain't it for me, man. So I had to really, give that up, right? You know. So guess what, man? You don't want to put yourself in in these type of situations. All right. If a man ways pleases the Lord, even his enemies be at peace with thee, man. And that's another thing, man. You outside of this world, man, you don't know who is who, man. You don't know who is who. All right. In terms of the brotherhood, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you don't know who is who. right? So you don't want to offend, all right? So sometimes you're gonna have to take the low, man. A lot of times, right? You're gonna have to take the low, right? And in the street, you don't know who is who, all right? Hey, when I started boxing, that was a lesson I learned. I'm like, yo, bro, you go to the gym, motherfuckers just looking regular, bro, and dudes is fucking, you know what I'm saying? Killers and shit, you know? I'm like, oh, you know? So you don't want to be out here just constantly getting into conflicts and these type of things, man. Right? Okay, we're gonna get a couple more precepts. This is Sirach chapter 6 verse 2. All right, it says, "Extol not thyself in the counsel of thy own heart." Yeah, that's right. Now, don't lift up yourself, you know, in the counsel of your own heart. Right? Okay. Right, and your feelings. Okay, that's basically what it is. Hey, don't be getting into your feelings. A lot of times, man. Yeah, all have feelings. All right, we all have emotions. All right, but we're supposed to keep the ship steady. All right, you don't want to just be crashing out. Okay, you don't want to be doing that. All right. Hey, the scriptures speak about, hey, when you serve the Lord, prepare your soul for temptation, man. So we understand these are the things that are battle. These are the conditions that are battle. Or you ask the Lord to increase your patience, what have you. Guess what? You're gonna get tested on that, man. That's another thing. You really you have to watch what you say, right? Okay. So it says what? Extol not thyself in the counsel of thy own heart, that thy soul be not torn in pieces as a bull strain alone. Yeah, that's right, man. So guess what, man? Hey, man, you can't control the emotions. You're gonna destroy yourself, man. All right, you're gonna get caught up. You're gonna be constantly getting, bro. If you're constantly getting into like loud, aggressive conflicts, if you will, continuously, man, you have to examine yourself, man. All right, you must do that. You know, you have to understand. Hey, sometimes you walk into a room, guess what? The, the demons start getting antsy, man. All right, more people is gonna fuck with you. All right, you gotta understand that too. Right? Hey, man. Listen, man. We sheep in the midst of wolves, man. So we taking a low until Yahweh Shai makes his return. Man, it is what it is, man. A lot of times it's easier said than done, but it got to get done regardless. Right? It says, "Thou shalt eat up thy leaves and lose thy fruit and leave thyself as a dry tree." Yeah, that's right, man. All right, you're gonna be messed up out here, man. All right, not ruining your spirit is gonna lead to your destruction, man. And not only that, man. Hey, you're supposed to in reality be applying the scriptures in your everyday life. Okay, you're supposed to apply wisdom. All right, you're supposed to want that wisdom, right? And if you're not applying that, and when you say the wisdom of the scriptures, all right, which you could compare to, a woman, all right, this truth, you could compare it to, food, bread, water, right? You want to be fruitful, it says, "Thou shalt eat up thy leaves and lose thy fruit and leave thyself as a dry tree." Yeah, that's right, man. All right? So you want to be a tree that is profitable, man. And not only that, man, you don't want to bring this truth into disrepute, all right, by your actions, right? Even like young brothers just coming in, bro, brothers gotta grow up fast. You know what I'm saying? Brothers have to grow up fast, faster than the young men are old. Because guess what? What we in the last days of the last days, man. This place is about to be over with, right? You know. So that's what it is, man. Okay, don't be in your feelings in this truth. All right, regardless of what it is, man, take a second, and that's another thing. Don't let you might get into it, maybe with a brother or what have you. Hey, don't let the scripture speak about. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath, man. You holding things in, right? You holding things in. Okay, and that's bubble is building and building, and you're not communicating, and next thing you know, it's a bunch of petty shit going on, man. This should be bullshit. All right. So we don't want to have these long, which in the truth, as Apostle Hart say, hey, bro, we don't have to like everybody. Like, hey, it is what it is. Sometimes brothers don't mesh. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But at the same time, you don't want to. Hey, don't let the song. You don't want to be holding grudges, man. All right, you holding a grudge. You holding a grudge, and next thing you gotta go to camp. You know what I mean? You go to camp with the brother, man. It's just weird and it's just awkward, right? Okay. I'm gonna read one more precept. Let me see. This is uh this is James chapter 1 verse 19, right? And it says, "Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath." So there it is, man. Swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath, slow to get angry. All right, that's the order right there. You have to be fast when it comes to hearing, man. All right, slow to speak. Watch what you're saying. Don't just fucking blurt out the first thing that's in here. You know what I mean? Think about what you're about to say, man. Right, and slow to wrath. Right, the scriptures speak about you don't want to be in the presence of a brawling man. Man always get into some shit. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because hey, if you that man, you the brawling man. All right. Hey, guess what? You compromising brother's safety and all these type of things, man. You compromising your own safety. All right, bro. You don't know what these people out here, man. You do not know what these people out here, man. All right. Any conflict I quote unquote get into, man, I just try to like dead that shit, man. Regardless how I feel, you know. To the best of my ability, right? It says what? For the wrath of man worketh not righteousness of the Most High. Yeah, that's right. The wrath of man. All right. In reality, if you continually in that stage or that emotion, guess what? You gotta examine yourself. And you might be going off. You going off. All right. In reality, you're going off. Okay. If you're constantly getting, we're not saying don't. You have to explain yourself or defend yourself. You have to function in the world, man. All right. Sometimes you got to fight for your cause or whatever. But the main point is what? Rule in your spirit. All right. Be aware of where you're at. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of who you're speaking to. All right. You could get your point across. All right. In a good manner. All right. Without being a dick, man. All right, cursing people out on the job and in the street and all that. Like, yo, bro, listen, man, we not doing all of that, man. Hey, wise as a serpent, all right, harmless as a dove, man. That's a spirit that we supposed to be in, man. All right, because hey, these people they fucking waiting, they waiting for us to slip up, man. They waiting, man. They gonna persecute us anyway, all right. But we want to be persecuted what for righteousness' sake, man. All right. So that was just a quick lesson. All right, I was outside in the old park. I said, let me run it. All right, so Lord willing was edifying. All right, with that, we're gonna give all praises due to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Kokodash. All right, until next time, Shalom.